Today I want to talk about one website, an online service called Vectr. Vectr is basically a site where you can go and create graphics. Now, people who are familiar with vector graphics, I'm sure they know about softwares like CorelDRAW, which is quite popular actually, especially with the printers, and also Illustrator, I believe. I have done a lot of work with CorelDRAW. I used to design logos, brochures, and quite a lot of graphics because when you go to any printer, they would accept only CDR file. So it is like a standard, at least in Delhi. Uh, I'm from Delhi, so I can talk about how things are with printers in Delhi. Um, but if you're, let us say, thinking of creating a vector based graphic, you don't have to, but I think it is always good to know about these options. Now, vectr.com, vectr.com, don't expect it to have like tons of features. It is quite straightforward and simple, but I think it is just perfect for doing majority of things. So when you are working with vector, let us say you have to design a logo. What you can do, you can create different pages, and when you create a new page within like your main file, you can have different files. So within a file, you can have different pages, and each page can have a different size. So when you define a size here, you already have some templates. For example, if you want to basically, let us say, create your YouTube channel banner, or maybe you want to create a Twitter header or Facebook cover photo. So there are some presets, but again, you don't have to use a preset. You can simply select maybe A4, whatever. And using vector is not very difficult. Let us create a logo for my BlackBerry boy channel. Now, to add a logo, I'll simply write a text, for example. So I can use the text tool, for example, and you can type in here BlackBerry boy. And when you select it, you can, of course, then resize it if you want. So you have the option to take a look at on the right hand side different options. Let me do it one more time. Let me increase the size as well. So if you click on it, you can change the font size. So maybe 70 is slightly big, maybe 60. Let me change it to 60. So I think this is looking good. What I can do now, I can then maybe change the font. So there are different fonts. I think they are, I think, enough for doing simple things. If you're writing something and you're designing something, maybe. So just select the font that you think is looking good. So you can select a font. You can, of course, do further things like you can change the color to maybe a color that you have here using this picker tool, but you can also define the hex value of the color. So you can write a text and it makes sense, but you can also do things like, let us say you have a rectangle and maybe you want to create some design or logo. So let me select the rectangle tool again. So if you press, let us say, the shift key, I think these things are quite common. It will create a perfect square along with a perfect circle, and you can also like overlap them if you want. And there are some indications. For example, if you want, let us say this particular, let me change the color to something else so you can see it properly. So let us say you want to align it perfectly. So you can see here that there is a dot in the like in the center. So you can always use the options here. So now it is perfectly aligned. And maybe you want to create a BlackBerry shape. So what you can do, you can maybe repeat it. So if you press Control D a couple of times, so maybe something like this. So you can also align them, and you can also group them. So let us say you want to align and you also want to group. So you can do a duplicate, and then you can also place it right next to each other. So you can do these things quite easily. And the best part is that if you're familiar with like doing intersections, you can also select everything and maybe see this nice shape, which is like either excluding or intersecting or subtracting or unifying everything. So this looks quite good, and I think this shape itself is looking quite interesting. It is a bit symmetrical. I can also change the color if I want. For example, maybe I want to select this color, and or I can also pick it from here. So if I want to pick this color, I can pick it like this, and there you go. You can also have a border if you want to have a border. Maybe you prefer having borders. I am not a big fan, but still you can do it. You can also rotate them like this. So I think this is looking good. And once I'm done with this, I can maybe just oh, I don't really want to do it. So I will keep it here, and I may want to reduce the size. So if you are trying to decrease the size, you also have the option to use the controls at the bottom in case you want, or not this one, sorry. So let us say you select it and you want to change the size. So you have the option to lock the aspect ratio if you want, and you can then specify the size here by changing the dimensions. I think I don't like the border, so I'll get rid of the border first. I'll change the border to 0, and I'll keep it here. And I may want to place my BlackBerry boy text right next to it. So I think I will probably reduce the size to 100 pixel. Yeah, I think this is looking good. Although it is not really looking like a proper BlackBerry, but I mean, that is not the point. And if you want to align them, you can do that. You will get the indications here, like if these two objects are vertically or horizontally aligned, something like this, you will get these arrows, these markings. So if you're trying to align two objects by centering them, you can also do that. So I actually quite use the vector, especially when I'm creating some graphics very quickly for my YouTube header, for example. And I also just wanted to quickly show you how you can do the same thing, because a lot of people ask me this question: how do I design graphics? So Vectr is somewhere, it is not very simple, but it is also not very complicated. I think it has a sweet spot. So I may want to just keep it here. I think this looks good. And maybe in the next line, maybe if I change the boy to this, no, I think I prefer this. And I think, yeah, this is it. And once you're happy with this, you can actually select everything, and you can group it. And when you have your logo ready, you can then export it. Now you have some options. You can either export the whole page or the selection, and you can export it in JPG, PNG, or SVG. So you can also share it on Twitter and Facebook, but I think when you download the JPG file is usually high quality file. So I hope you enjoyed watching this video and you learned something new today. Thank you very much.